welcome to Voices in the Code, episode something, I don't know, but with me today is the requested by normal demand, Lily. Lily's
My
back,
normal
yay!
Hi, I'm back
Yeah,
again.
to be fair, it's not like you went missing or anything, it's just that we haven't done content in a while. But
No,
we,
and
we
that is your
still,
fault.
yeah, but we're still watching you play Half Sword all the time, so.
It's so much fun.
It is,
I can't
yeah.
stop.
I
I
love
can't.
bludgeoning people over the head with a hammer.
It's really something else to like
Mm.
hit someone in the head with a hammer and then they're like, I can still keep fighting, and then just hit them again.
And you're like, no, actually, you can't. Stay down.
Yeah.
All right. So obviously the Dataslate came out.
Yep.
I want to say like a day ago from when we're recording.
Mhm.
I didn't get to it as fast because I'm not on night shift. It was crazy, dude. I woke up at like 2 a.m. and then saw the Dataslate came out, read all of it, and then fell back asleep for like 7 hours. And I was like,
Yeah.
I should really get to recording this.
And then I just didn't read it, and then
Yeah, but that's all the fun. I mean, I saw that you already got spoiled for the Tyranid one, but that's okay.
yeah.
There's still
I mean,
a
I still
lot to go
haven't
over.
seen the stratagems.
Yeah, and we're like I said earlier, we're not gonna go too deep into this stuff. We're gonna kind of
Mhm.
just like shoot from the hip,
Okay.
because I might just do that like in-depth review some other time. But we are getting 3 new detachments. Chaos got one, which is kind of crazy. Chaos already has like 10 detachments. I think this is their 10th.
They have an irrational amount of detachments.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
yeah.
look at that. I'm gonna like skip to it.
So it's called Cabal of Chaos, and I'm not one much for. It's basically like a psyker detachment, and I don't really care for psychers and sorcerers and shit like that.
Hmm.
But then I remembered that the Terminator sorcerer exists, and he's like my fucking favorite.
Yeah.
And I like Terminators a lot, Chaos Terminator specifically, and I found a synergy here that I think is really cool. But to just kind of
Okay.
get into it, Cabal of Chaos. Basically, when you do a Dark Pact, you can choose a unit that's within 9 inches of a Psyker, and then that unit gets +1 strength to their weapons. Or you can choose a unit that's 9 inches within a Demon Prince, and you get +1 AP to your weapons. So, like, do Dark Pact. Is anyone around you that's a Psyker or Demon Prince? Cool, you get these buffs respectively, right?
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, it makes you want to take Demon Princes. I don't think Demon Princes got the same buffs that all the other Chaos Lords got, or sorry, Demon Princes got in like the God detachments, where they have like
Yeah.
Lone Op and the cheaper stratagem thing. I don't think they have that in CSM. So
I don't
they're a
think
little,
so.
yeah, they're a little bit weaker.
They kind of just
Um,
suck. Yeah.
yeah, well, I think this detachment is kind of making you want to take them as like a big bully piece, but even then they don't have the lone op thing anymore, or they didn't get the lone op thing like all the other gods did, or
Hmm.
the CP reduction. But so the enhancements are pretty simple. It's like one of them gives something the psyker keyword, like a model. The other one gives the
Okay.
unit a scout 6. The other one gives a psyker unit lance, and the other one gives a demon prince specifically +2 strength and +1 AP. So when it dark packs, it could get +3 strength if it's within a psyker, or +2 AP if it's within itself, obviously. um,
Hmm.
which is pretty fat. Like an enchantment that basically says +2 strength, +2 AP for a demon prince. Not bad. Um,
No,
the
I mean that
one
might make them playable.
yeah. The one that I really liked though was this one right here. Psyker unit gets lance, right? I'm
Hmm.
just shorthanding it. But kind of going back to the chaos terminator sorcerer, what he does is that he could point at something and give it -1 AP when it's hurt, right? So like, hey,
Hmm.
you're cursed, everything that hits you is -1 AP, right? On top of that, he can lead terminators. On top of that, he gives terminators advanced charge, and he has deep strike, right? So that's really nice to plop like a big brick of terminator downs and then make sure you make your charges.
Hmm.
And then you can give them lance, and then like when you dark pact with your terminator squad, they can reroll hits. So now you have like a 2-up save, 4+ invuln, rerolling hits, reroll advance lance unit that has +1 AP from the sorcerer, and then +1 strength from the psyker, being within 9 inches as well. If you get a demon prince in, you get +1 AP on top of the sorcerer, so now you're getting +2 AP, +1 strength, rerolling hits, rerolling charges, +1 wound. Like, that sounds fat as fuck.
Hmm.
And I'm really excited to try that. Like, once I saw that, I was like, oh, I kind of want to give this thing a shot. um But then the strats are pretty simple. I think all of them are 1 CP. Yeah, all of them are 1 CP. One is a Feel No Pain 5 versus Mortal Wounds. Those are pretty situational, okay. The other one is 9 inches within a Psyker or a Prince. That unit regains D3 plus 1 wounds, or D3 models if it's a battle line unit that they're targeting, which is kind of nice if, like, I don't know, the body's trying to shoot you off a point, and you're like, actually, no, I get 3 Legionaries back. So now I have, what is it, 6 OC on this now. The other is a Psyker in shooting rolls a d6. On a 1, they inflict 1 mortal wound. On a 2 through 4, they inflict d3 mortal wounds, and a 5 through 6 is 2d3. That one's okay. I'm not the biggest fan of that. I tend to like, for those abilities, I like the Typhus one, where it's like d3 plus 3 if you roll a 6, as opposed to 2d3. I guess if you really need something dead, right?
I think, I mean, I don't know.
To be fair,
I have issues in general with Chaos Space Marines.
Yeah. In what regard?
They betrayed me and they failed me for years.
Oh, okay. I think Psychers in CSM don't have like Doombolt abilities or like Typhus's Hot Eater Hive.
Cool.
Yeah, so like this is a way to kind of give your Psyker a little bit more damage, basically, because all they really have is debuffing. So I mean, I guess that kind of fills that gap. Is just cost of CP, which is like, for mediocre mortal wound damage.
I mean, I'm a big like Psyker enjoyer, and one of the main reasons I kept playing Chaos was for Psyker stuff. And I should be excited about this, but I'm not, because it doesn't really do anything. Like,
it's more just like, it's more just like buffing around auras. It doesn't really have to do. You might like the new Thousand Suns though. I'm not gonna lie. Holy shit!
Another Thousand Suns fucking detachment.
No. Like the new Thousand Suns Codex. Like the way that they roll Psyker spells is so fucking cool. That
might be cool.
I have to point you towards it. But the next one is unit ignores cover for 1 CP. Always nice. It's basically -1 AP. So if you stack it on top of a Demon Prince, it's kind of like -2 AP. Pretty sweet. And then the other one is infantry, 1 CP, advances in charge. Fat. You can't really go wrong with that. It is limited to infantry, but a lot of CSM's carry stuff is infantry, like possessed and shit like that. I don't think you run possessed here. Maybe you do, maybe you don't.
If they buff possessed.
I mean, possessed are pretty good, but it's because they get a bunch of buffs from like a detachment like Creations of Bile. I don't know if this is one that you run them in. Maybe I can see an argument for +1 strength, +1 AP for them, but I don't know. The next one, maybe this one actually would be a reason why you take possessed. It's you target a Psyker or a Prince, and then they get a 6-inch aura of stealth for friendly units. So basically, you just give them a 6-inch aura where everything around them gains stealth, which I mean can make your possessed have stealth while they charge in. So maybe it is worth it. Overall, it's just cool. It's just a cool new detachment. I don't think it's gonna be like pushing up the stocks of fucking princes or Psychers or anything like that. But it's just another thing to play with. I don't know if Chaos really needed it, to be honest, considering they got Creations of Bile not too long ago.
Going on.
Yeah, I mean, hey, the next one we're getting into is Tyranids, and they've had quite a bit as well. But they didn't start off with a codex with 8 detachments, to be fair. So.
No, I mean, we do have a lot of detachments though.
Yeah, you got 2 in a row, right? You got Grotsmith, and then now you got this one. There wasn't another one last time. Because you got the Warrior one last time.
We got Warrior Bioform.
Yeah, that was the Grotsmith one.
Some of this, yeah.
So now this is their second new one from outside of the codex. So Subterranean Assault, your nids get reroll hits of 1 base, doesn't matter what. Really just fucking nice. And it's because the other mechanic is very gimmicky, but it is really, really cool. And I would like to see more of this personally. So basically, a Burrower unit can set up a 40 millimeter tunnel 3 inches away from enemy units when they set up in the field, so they like pop out of it. In the reinforcement step of the movement phase, reserves can be set up wholly within 9 inches and 6 inches away from enemies. So your burrowers pop out, create this hole, and then everything can come out of that hole as long as it's within 9 inches and 6 inches away from enemies. So basically, at the very least, 6-inch deep strike, sort of, if you can set it up correctly. And then kind of like I thought of Rek'Sai from League of Legends. Like if you walk within 3 inches, you remove the tunnel. So the cool part is Moloch and Trigons gain the Burrower keyword, so they're like your main play pieces here. And then 2 Trigons also gain the character keyword, so you can give them enhancements.
Yep.
Speaking of enhancements,
Yeah, this is fucking insane.
yeah,
I mean, the one thing I like about this, right? Well, immediately right off the bat is the reroll hit rolls of 1. This
yeah, it's
means
just
you
good.
don't run warriors, right? Because they already have this. Because they already,
Yeah, yeah,
so you don't have to run warriors. And some of the other things I want to talk about later when we get there is the new Raveners, which I haven't really taken a look at yet.
yeah. We'll get to
But
them.
this was anticipated
Yeah,
to be
it's very
arriving.
fitting for the new Raveners, I'd say.
Right. I
I
haven't looked at them.
I like this detachment because if there's one thing I really like about Nids, it's the more like snaky looking Nids, like the burrowers.
Yeah.
So a detachment that pushes them is really cool.
I mean, this rule is insane, right? This is absolutely fucking crazy.
I don't know
Because,
if it's like crazy busted or just like, what do you think?
I don't think it's the thing.
I think
is
it's
that
fun. I just think it's very interesting.
I
Like it has
think
the
it
potential
is
to be
going
really
to be crazy though, because what can pop out isn't limited anymore, right?
Yeah,
Because the
that's
old
the
Trigon tunnel rule was limited to infantry and a certain number of them.
yeah.
This isn't.
Yeah, that might
This
be a
is
change,
not
I think.
limited. Like you can reposition, right? Because when I've been playing Tyranids recently, I have like I run out of space on my board, so I put an Exocrine in reinforcements. You can
Yep.
now pop out a Trigon and pop out an Exocrine with
Yeah.
it wherever it is that you want, pretty much. Because
Very
Trigons
good
can
line
go
of
wherever
sights,
they
too.
want.
Yeah,
Yeah, you can literally give them like the perfect line of sight to shoot the target, which is
Mm-hmm.
probably going to be like Terminators or Space Marines or whatever the fuck else that you need to get rid of.
So
And you
getting
can
into-
play 3 Trigons.
Yeah, I mean, and the Molochs too. I don't know how good the Molochs are, but I remember Trigons are pretty decent.
Trigons are pretty solid. They got a couple buffs over the years, but yeah.
So for the enhancements, you can give 1 per battle, 0 CP rapid ingress, even if you already used it. So you can go like
Insane.
yeah, you can go like 1 CP rapid ingress here, 0 CP rapid ingress there, and create these tunnels. So that's pretty fat. Then the other one is 3 units redeploy after deployment is done, or you can move them into reserves. Those are always good because you can fake out your opponent. You can basically draw line of sights down the battlefield, and then your opponent responds by putting a piece in front of that piece, and then you're like, actually no, haha. You know what I mean? So, and then the fact that you can put them, not only redeploy them, but put them into reserves, so you can try to like juke out your opponent.
Tunnels.
Exactly. Yeah. Then the next one is that a deep strike unit can be set in within the first, second, or third movement phase. Basically, it's not limited, which is nice again to set up a tunnel turn 1 if you really need it. And then the last one is the Trigon gains the Synapse keyword, gets +1 strength and +1 weapon skill. I don't know. I guess it would be helpful for the Trigon to have Synapse, because if he burrows out, creates the tunnel, then everything that comes out of that tunnel after him will be within Synapse range. So it's a great way to guarantee that you're within that. And then he would get, I think, he gets +1 strength and +1 weapon skill from this base, but would he get +1 strength as well just for being within Synapse? Right? Yeah, so he get +2 strength, +1 weapon skill, which is pretty fat.
That will make them strength 11.
Jesus Christ.
And they will hit on 2s.
Yeah, that means that they can break apart Lehman Russes.
They will break apart pretty much anything that they touch. They're also D3 AP -2. Like Trigons are pretty strong units.
Yeah.
It's just like they're not like slow. It's just like, do I really want to pay 140 points for this unit?
Yeah, that's usually
basically
the thing.
like a big worm that like hits stuff. And like their special rule is 6-inch deep strike, but then you can't charge. So it's like, okay, what's the point?
Well, yeah, well now you're gonna.
But now we have the point.
And then, yeah.
Now we have the point. We can 6-inch deep strike, and then everything can come out of the tunnel. And then your opponent probably loses the game.
So for your strats, you have a Marlock or a Trigon gain Synapse until the next command phase for 1 CP. So if you did pay that enhancement, but then you have another Trigon that didn't have it, then you can just really quick pop that. The next one is Nids within 9 inches of the tunnels can regain D3 plus 1 wounds, or return up to D3 plus 1 models if that's a 1 wound unit. So either heal something D3 plus 1, or you can bring up to 4 little gaunts back, basically.
That is... This is crazy.
As long as they're within 9 inches of the tunnel, you can do it. The next one is Nids that were set up in reinforcements, or set up as reinforcements, gain sustain 1 and ignore cover until the next fight phase during your movement phases when you pop this. That one is kind of gross,
I can give my Exocrine ignores cover and sustained hits. Let's
Yeah, it just like pops out and it's like, all right, time to blast. Yeah.
Time to blast. Here's my Exocrine that popped out of this tunnel.
Yeah.
It was just behind my Trigon.
And the cool part is that it's until next fight phase, so like leading into your opponent's movement phase, you can like, if you have a good Overwatch unit, you can still get that off, which is really, really cool. The next one is end of movement phase. A nid within 9 inches of a tunnel can be removed and set up with within another tunnel, so it just kind of bloop, bloop, right, tunnel network. Also really fat if you need to move an Exocrine like halfway across the board.
Yeah, you can teleport your Exocrine.
Basically.
I love this. I love this detachment.
Yeah. The next one is charge phase. You select a nid monster, and then any units within 6 inches of that monster can reroll charges. So really fat for like what you said with the Trigon. You can set them up within 6 inches of something, but they can't charge. Cool, that's fine. My Tyranids that follow through with my Trigon can charge, and they're going to reroll those charges because my Trigon, my Tyranid monster, just popped out, and I'm going to select him as the target. So
imagine like you pop your Trigon in 6 inches, make your tunnel, and then you walk through 10 Gene Stealers and a Broodlord, they reroll charges.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. And then the last one is end of fight phase. 1 nid or 2 burrower keywords not in engagement range can be placed into reserves. So if you want to, if you 2 Trigons are out and you're like, hey, I want more tunnels, you pop them out and then shoot them back in. So really, really, really cool.
This is kind of wild, right? I think actually this is better for Molochs.
Yeah?
Because Molochs have so Molochs, when they pop up, you roll 1d6 for each enemy unit within 12 inches of that model. On a 2 to 4, that unit suffers d3 mortal wounds. On a 5, they suffer 3. And Molochs still make their tunnels.
Yeah.
So you can pop, do your terror from the deep. You can even charge and try and eat something. I mean, their melee is pretty good. They're not like bad in melee. They're fine.
Yeah. So they're like
16 attacks, strength 8, AP -2, hitting on 3s is not terrible. They're kind of like munchers.
Not bad. Yeah, and you can pop them in and out and create tunnels while you do
that.
that.
And then like they'll eat something and they'll dip. Plus, if you roll a 5 or a 6, they have to take a battle shock test, which is sometimes relevant if you want to play Neurolictors, which you probably won't because Neurolictors kind of suck. In my opinion, they have disappointed me most of the time. They're okay. They're just kind of useless in combat. They're like a support unit.
Yeah.
Which and something else I want to talk about when we get there is the changes to some of our units.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we'll go over them. But that leads us to the next detachment, which is Wrath of the Rock, a Dark Angels one. Okay. I wish I was excited for it. I don't know. I really want to play Dark Angels, but every single time I'm like, oh, but then I have to buy like Space Marine kits. I just kind of meh. Because I like the Dark Angels exclusive models, but I don't want to like buy repulsors and shit like that. Even though it's probably cheap as fuck. I kind of want to go out and buy the Battle Force if I'm being completely honest, but I can't, dude. I have way too much shit that I have to build now. So I still have Chaos and Tau that I'm building, Death Guard, and I'm not even fully done with AdMech in terms of like flexibility for list building. So much as I like Dark Angels, I'm gonna have to pass on this one. But Wrath of the Rock, this one is basically a all-arounder. It's not trying to focus too much on anything, but it seems a little bit more infantry focused. So infantry and mounted, they basically get transhuman physiology, which is like the whole if they get attacked by a weapon with higher strength, then it's -1 to wound. So I think it's better. Yeah, I think it's better than Fellhammer Siege Host, the one from Chaos that I ran with Terminators, because it targets mounted. I don't believe Fellhammer targeted mounted. So there's that. So then enhancements, a model within 6 inches, or a model gains a 6-inch aura to reroll battle shock and leadership tests. The next one is a model gains +2 strength, +1 AP, and +1 damage on melee weapons. That one's pretty fat considering that like Dark Angels like models that are within units of Deathwing Knights or Inner Circle Companions. I think Azrael has some really nasty melee if I remember correctly. The next one is Deathwing units can set up Deep Strike in the 1st through 3rd reinforcement steps. There's no limit, so basically Deep Strike turn 1. Deathwing Knights is kind of fucking insane because those guys are very, very, very strong. And then the last one is Raven Wings can reroll advances and charge, which is okay. I don't think that the Raven Wing bikes are that strong. I don't remember. I know that they got some buffs not too long ago, but either way, the strats are 2 CP. When an oath target is destroyed, a unit within 12 invisible becomes the oath target until the next command phase, which is good if you really need something dead, but 2 CP is extremely steep just to get your army rule a little bit sooner. The next one is command phase. A unit with an engagement adds 1 OC to models. If not a Deathwing or a Ravenwing model, though, it will add +1 to hit. So a great way to try to either flip an objective if somebody's fighting you for it, or to try to wipe them off of it with the +1 to hit if they are not a Deathwing, Ravenwing, or vehicle. The third one is Armor of Contempt. Pretty simple, -1 AP. Then the next one is movement phase. A unit can advance, shoot, and charge, and if it's a Ravenwing, it is able to fall back, shoot, and charge, which is okay, I think. Again, I don't really remember how well the Ravenwing bikers are. I know that they were really good in their detachment, but I don't know how good they are without like getting direct buffs. So then the next one is in the shooting phase, an infantry or mounted unit get +2 strength to the ranged weapons. That's just pretty fucking good. Something like overcharging Hellblasters or something maybe, and then giving them +2 strength on top of that. Like they're gonna start destroying things. And the last one is end of charge phase. This was kind of weird. So basically, a unit within 3 inches or a Deathwing unit within 6 inches gets to declare a charge to an enemy unit within that range, but they get no charge bonuses. So it kind of sounds just like Heroic Intervention, unless I'm messing something up here. I think Heroic Intervention is 6 inches, though, isn't it? Like, I can't remember off the top of my head. Close. Either Heroic is 3, and then that allows you to have 2 Heroic Interventions, or and then your Deathwing Knights get an extra 3 inches, basically, which could make a difference. But I don't know. Overall, I think it's really good. But people are saying that it's like possibly one of the best Dark Angels detachments. Now, historically, Dark Angels has mega dog shit detachments, so you know, because they've been leaning on like the Gladius Task Force a lot from the Space Marine Codex, but it does look like one that kind of helps the units overall, as opposed to like putting them in a niche or giving them like subpar abilities. So maybe it's good. I don't know. We'll have to see. I'm not. I think it's like a solid 7, but I still like. Nah, it's like a 6. I still like the Cabal of Chaos and the Subterranean Assault a lot better. And then now we're gonna get on to the Kill Team boxes. So they still haven't announced when those are coming out. Sag. Yeah. But they did announce. Yeah, I know. I apparently I can pre-order, but I heard that my store is sold out already. So that was fucking quick. Like they haven't even announced it, and I'm sold out. But I tempered my expectations, I think, last time we talked about them, and sure enough, it is exactly what I expected. And the Raveners are way better than I thought. So yeah, to go over them real quick, they haven't released the Kill Team rules yet, which kind of sucks, but we have the 40k one, so sure. But I was more interested on playing these guys in Kill Team than I was in 40k. But you know, having Servitors, I already knew our army didn't need that. But Servitors are basically 6-inch move, toughness 4+ save with a 6+ invuln. They're 1 wound each, except for the Tech Priest that leads them, which is 2 wounds. Leadership 7 to 8, depending on which model you're looking at, and then OC 1, right? They have Infantry, Cult Mechanicus, Doctrina Imperatives, which is our army rule, Underseer, and Type Priest. Interesting that they have Cult Mechanicus, because that is different from Skitarii. Obviously, they're not Skitarii, but that does kind of give some synergy for Datasom, which is one of our detachments. Crazy that they have Doctrina Imperatives, which is our army rule, considering that GW is very picky about giving our army rule away, because, you know, a lot of our models just didn't fucking have it, and I'm surprised that Servitors got it before something like our robots, but here we are. The thing that sucks here, the thing that really, really sucks, is that they don't have Battle Line. Like, Servitor Battle Line was a thing, and I think it is a thing still in some codexes. Like, I think Grey Knights may have them, but Battle Line would have been really fat for Servitors, because then they would have been able to spread our army buff aura, and they don't have that, which is kind of whack. They're also OC1. It would have been nicer if they were OC2 Battle Line, because then we'd be like, all right, well, now our Skitarii can go and do things that they actually have to go do, instead of sitting at home and being babies. You know what I mean? Like, it's like sitting down Legionaries or Rubik Marines or Plague Marines at home when you have Cultists for that reason, right? Or like sitting down Warriors at home when you have Gaunts for that reason. Like, you know, it's... So that's letdown number 1. Number 2 is I wanted their ability to be something a little bit more unique, and it is unique, like, but not in the way that I was hoping for. Basically, it's called Network Override. A unit containing a Tech Priest can perform actions when it advanced, or can shoot and do actions, which is nice, right? Like the idea that you can do an action and then, you know, maybe lay down some fire is pretty sick. But they're still servitors. They still have like meh guns. They have a couple good ones. Like one of them comes with one melta, one of them has a heavy arc rifle, and then one of them has a heavy bolter, right? And it's like and then there's like a couple little hand flamers and then little shitty guns. Like it's a lot of firepower for a pretty cheap unit that can also do actions while they do it. But more often than not, I think you're just kind of putting them behind a wall and having them do actions. You know what I mean? They're not really there to shoot. They can at least advance and do actions, so they can close gaps. But you already have like Cerberus Raiders, which are mounted guys that can move 12 inches and just do the actions anyway. You know what I mean? The only difference here is that these guys have infantry, so they can go through walls, whereas Cerberus Raiders can't. So that's kind of been the discussion lately, because right now it's rumored that there's 60 points. It shows that in the data sheet, but it's not in the MFM, and the MFM is basically what dictates tournament, like real tournament point values. So 60 points for this is not bad, but I think you're kind of like looking at Raiders as like the comparison here, and Raiders are twice as fast. These guys can be faster than Raiders if they advance and then be able to perform the action, but they have to spike that advance, and that's considering that the Raiders don't advance. So one, that, two, their firepower is mediocre, so is the Raiders, but the Raiders are, I think, a little bit better at like kind of getting across the field and then disrupting units after they do their actions with their whole tactical oblique ability. So
okay,
I don't know. It's really hard. The way I see it is you take Raiders for speed and screening, and you take Servitors for girth and maybe some firepower. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's exactly what I expected. I tempered my expectations big time, and I got exactly what I expected. They're fucking Servitors after all. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
But the Hyperadapted Raveners, these guys are pretty sick.
Oh yeah, I've been looking at them here.
Yeah.
We also got changes to base Raveners as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I didn't note those down, but I did want to go over the Hyperadapted ones.
I think both of these changes are important.
Okay, so why don't you go over the Raveners, and I'll go over the Hyperadapted.
I can go over both of them. I've been reading it here.
Okay, yeah.
So base Raveners, we used to get them in groups of 3. Now we're getting them in groups of 5. The points costs look to be they're a little bit more expensive. So you used to get 3 for 75. Now we're getting 5 for 125, which is better. We lost the gun profile, which is good. The gun profile was garbage. We got the armor increase base, which is great. Same movement, same toughness, same weapon profile pretty much. Everything else is about the same. Pick up and come back is the same. The weapons are twin linked, which I don't think that they were before.
Ooh. The melee weapons?
They were twin linked before.
Oh, okay.
However, we lost 4 attacks. So each Ravener used to have 7 attacks base.
Oh.
Now we're at 3.
Oh my gosh.
But the damage profile was buffed from Strength 5, AP -2, Damage 1 to Strength 5, AP -2, Damage 2.
Okay, that's not... Yeah, so double the damage, half the attacks.
Double the damage, half the attacks, 2 more models.
Fair, yeah.
Same 3 wounds, everything else is the same.
Okay.
But they have the word burrowers on them.
Mm-hmm.
This makes Raveners fucking insane. They make tunnels.
Yes, they do.
They have their own pickup and redeploy rule stitched onto them as well. So Raveners are crazy. 125 points for this unit is really good, right? At a certain point, you probably have too many burrowers, but you also don't have to pay for a Trigon. It's only 15 points. You're only saving 15 points.
Yeah.
To not have a Trigon. But you can hide Raveners easier.
True.
And they can hit different stuff.
And they're infantry,
but,
right? They can go through.
And they're infantry.
They can go through walls.
And they can go through walls. So now we move on to the Hyperadapted Raveners, and this unit is pretty crazy.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
You're paying 40 more points between base Raveners and Hyperadapted Raveners. You are also getting for it almost the exact same melee profile, except you get anti-monster and anti-vehicle 5-up. And your prime has double the attacks, and everything else is the same.
He has double health too. He has 6 wounds, right?
Yeah, and he has 6 wounds. And because we're not done yet, they got a flamer that still has the weapon profile for melee.
Yeah.
And the flamer is a strength 6 AP -1 flamer.
Pretty good.
And instead of pick up and redeploy, we get sustained hits 1 on this really good weapon profile, and rapid ingress for 0, and you can use it if you've already targeted something else.
Yep.
Which we also have a stratagem for that.
Yeah, so you could...
And Hyper-Adapted Raveners have Burrower.
Yeah, you can...
You certainly can't do it 3 times, right? There's no way.
There's no way.
That you're allowed to do it 3 times.
Yeah, I think you're only limited to 1 type of, like, that type of
additional.
I think so.
That's still enough,
That's
right?
still a bit, yeah.
It's still more than enough to be like... They say the word Burrowers on them.
Well, they also have a lot of other keywords that I noticed. So the leader has Synapse, which is nice because they're always going to be within that range.
Because that means that this strength 5 is now strength 6.
Yeah. They're also a Vanguard Invader, which I think that is a thing for one of those detachments, right?
Yeah, the Vanguard Onslaught.
Yeah.
Whatever the hell. The one I don't really like that much.
And then I also noticed that, like, he is a leader that you can staple to base Raveners. So you can make a big block of Raveners and give the normal Raveners sustained 1 as well.
Yeah, I wish we had point costs for the Ravener Prime.
No, so the thing is that it's an entire unit. Like, this entire unit of 6 Raveners is 165 points, and then you can staple that to a normal Ravener unit.
What the fuck?
Yeah, it's like Magnus Calgar, where it's like 3 models, but it's, just Magnus Calgar. He just comes with 2 guards. These 5 Raveners, for the Hyper-Adapted Raveners, can get stapled to normal Raveners because they have the leader keyword, and they lead normal Raveners.
That's insane.
Yeah. So you have, like, Hyper-Adapted Raveners as your character leader, so to speak, and then they are... along with a big other group of Raveners. So it's 11 Raveners, I think, all with sustained hits 1, all having the hypersensory array, and then they all also get the other benefits of the normal keyword, the in and out.
So you have a 290 point unit that has sustained hits 1, pick up and redeploy, 0 CP rapid ingress.
Yeah.
Flamer, bullshit Ravener melee profile.
Always within Synapse.
Always in Synapse.
Yeah.
And 4 of them, 5 of them have anti-monster, anti-vehicle.
Yeah, that's my understanding of it. I mean, that's what
and
it reads. That's what the data sheet
I would
reads.
think so. Yeah, because if we're not getting the individual Ravener Prime, that makes sense to me. If we're not getting the Ravener Prime profile to put him into Raveners, then that is...
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's kind of crazy. It's like a command squad for Cadians.
Yeah, it's a Tyranid command squad that says you're going to lose the game.
I mean, it's a pretty heavy unit, and it's a pretty big profile, like in terms of footprint, rather. But I still think it's like... I think it kind of gives Gene Stealers a run for their money. Like the big Gene Stealer. For sure. Break. Yeah.
Like the first thing I thought about when you said that was like, fuck Gene Stealers. This is just like... They're faster than Gene Stealers. Mm-hmm. Even with scouts because of Deep Strike.
Yep.
They're faster than Gene Stealers. They're tougher than Gene Stealers. I mean, they have a 4-up armor instead of the Gene Stealers 5-up invuln.
Yep.
5-up armor. But that's better in like every way. They have more wounds than Gene Stealers.
Mm-hmm.
They have a better damage profile than Gene Stealers.
Yeah.
They have a flamer. And they have anti-monster, anti-vehicle. And twin linked.
I think the Gene Stealers are still kind of like your cruise missile, go kill something and die unit, whereas these Raveners you want to maybe be a little bit more careful with. Like they're gonna shred everything. Though? Well, they're gonna shred everything up, but like I don't think. I'm assuming that 165 points on top of whatever Raveners cost is probably more expensive than just a missile of Gene Stealers.
Yeah, a Gene Stealer missile is 75, 150 plus your Broodlord, which is 230.
Yeah,
it's about 60 points more expensive for the Ravener fuck squad.
The Ravener fuck squad. Yeah,
The Ravener fuck squad though.
It just depends on what you want to do.
But their damage is better.
Oh yeah, no, 100. I'm not arguing that. That's why they cost more. they're like the more
they're
elite
literally
version of them.
they're just better.
Yeah.
I think maybe the toughness. No, Raveners have better toughness.
Yeah, they do.
They have better toughness. They're faster. They have better armor save. They have more wounds. They have one fewer attack. They may hit. They don't hit on 2s. They hit on 3s instead. But in Subterranean Onslaught, you roll 1s.
Yeah, and you're also getting sustained 1 for the entire Ravener unit.
And you have sustained 1.
Yeah.
So I don't think that there's really a reason to not pay this 60 extra points and just be like, all right, here's my.
Yeah, wait.
And they make tunnels.
Especially on the Subterranean thing, rerolling 1, sustain 1. That is really fucking fat. Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Looks
what
like
is
a
the
lot
point
of
of
fun.
Gene Stealers?
I don't know.
I think this is okay. But one of the things that I want to talk about, right, and this is really relevant here, is that one of the changes that we got 2 changes to our rules. It was to the Psychophage and to Hive Tyrants.
Yeah, we'll get into that.
So, yeah. But I want to talk about Psychophage right now.
Okay.
Because if you pop out, because they're burrowers, you pop out your hyper-adapted, your fuck squad, then you pop out Psychophage. Flamer, because Psychophage's gun is a flamer too.
Yep.
Psychophage's new rule says that
AP.
Yeah, it marks whatever it shot, and they get another AP. Raveners are AP -2.
So you get -3 AP.
They become -3.
Yeah, it's kind of gross.
That,
not gonna deny that one.
And they're strength 5. They will kill everything. That's your opponent's Space Marines are saving on 6s.
Yeah, and it's a lot of attacks, especially with the fuck squad.
And it's a lot of attacks. Like that's 3. So it's 4 Hyperadapted Raveners hitting on 3 attacks. It's 12, and then you have the Raveners each are hitting out with 5 with their 3 attacks. For 5 of them is 15. That's 27, and then the Primes, it's 23 attacks. 23 attacks, sustained 1.
Yeah, rerolling
hitting
ones.
on 3s, rerolling 1s.
Yeah,
and they're twin linked.
Oh Jesus! Yeah, you're right. They are.
And they're twin linked.
Oh
whatever that charges is dead.
Yeah, I think that.
And you know what? Hold on. Let's go back over here, right? Because we have Swarming Assault can only target a monster. Psychophages, I believe, are monsters. Let me check before I say that. They are indeed monsters. So yes, you can give the fuck squad rerolling charges.
Yeah. As if they need
and they bumped up Psychophages to 110 points. So that means that whole block is 400 points. So you can run 2 of those and still have like the rest of your army.
Yeah, I think that like NID's got their like elite Terminator variant here. Like,
yeah,
you know, every army has like Terminators, and then there's the big one like Death Shroud Terminators, or what's the other one? Fucking Deathwing Knights, like things like that. I think this is theirs because these guys are kind of gross. Like, yeah. So
this is crazy. I'm really excited to try this. I think this is I'm gonna run 800 of my army is going to be Fuck Squad Psychophage.
Fuck Squad Psychophage.
And then what I'm gonna do with the rest of it, I'm not even sure.
That's what you should call it.
Yeah, the Psycho Fuck Squad. I'm gonna call it the Psycho Fuck Squad. And you know, I'll run. I think I will try at least 1 Moloch. I think at least one is worth trying, and then maybe some number of Trigons.
Yeah, I think like 1 Moloch.
But Hive Tyrants kind of got a serious nerf.
Yeah, we'll get into that one. Yeah. So
a little sad about it.
Overall, I think
definitely necessary.
Yeah. Overall, I think everyone was pretty hyped for hyper adapted Raveners, and
oh yeah, I was.
Yeah, I think I think we both knew when we saw that reveal that the AdMech were gonna get the shittier deal of this, and it very much seems that way. Yeah. So you know, another day to be a happy Tyranids player. So.
Oh my god, this is awesome.
Yeah. So let's get into the Dataslate proper here. So this is like the changes that they did.
Yep, I have it open.
Okay, very simple rundown. Sisters in the command phase, 3 units become righteous. until the start of your next command phase. I believe that is for one of their detachments.
I don't know what that means.
Yeah, it's for one of the detachments called Champion of Faith. They get something off of it. I think they used to have to spend miracle dice. Now they just mark 3 units, and they become righteous for that. I don't know what the buffs are. It doesn't really say here in the data slate, but
I don't know. I haven't played against Sororitas in so long.
Yeah, rest in peace, Feta.
Yeah.
The next one is Seraphims. So they had one where their ability can give them either sustain hits 1 or lethal hits. If they with melee attack specifically, sorry, and then if they charged, they get both. So seems pretty nice.
I mean, that's cool.
Yeah, Seraphim's charged get lethal sus. Pretty good.
This is actually Zephyrim.
Yeah, that's what I said, right?
You were saying Seraphim.
Oh, Zephyrim. Sorry.
Zephyrim. Yeah, these are different words. They all sound the same.
Yeah, Seraphim is a shade, I think, a GW shade paint. So anyway, Retributors, I think they got completely reworked. That's what I've heard. I didn't bother to kind of go back and see, but Retributors essentially what they do is they reroll hits of 1 as well as reroll wounds of 1.
Okay.
So
I mean, that's good.
Pretty good. Yeah, I think Retributors are pretty like basic bitch models too. So
looks like it says here reroll each time you make a range attack, reroll hits rolls of 1 and wounds of 1.
Yeah.
If such an attack targets an enemy unit that has destroyed 1 or more Sororitas, you add 1 to the hit roll and 1 to the wound roll instead.
Yeah. What I was gonna say is that
that seems pretty good.
It's a very strong ability for a unit that, like, if I remember correctly, Retributors are just kind of like heavy intercessors, kind of like they're not basic bitch sister battle squad, but they are just kind of like not a big threat, but that's kind of a big ability for a unit that small. You know what I mean?
They're just sort of here.
Sorry?
They're just sort of there to, like, with some new guns.
Yeah, they're just very reliable foot troops is what I see it as. Especially to add 1 to the hit and wound roll. Like, some of those attacks are going to get through. I'm obviously speaking out of my ass. I don't know Sisters 2. I don't know what if Retributors maybe have some like really big gun or something, but you know.
Yeah. I don't know anything about that.
Okay, Custodes got no changes. AdMech, this is the big
changes.
One. So I just want to open this by saying that, like, it's very hard to be excited about this change. It is really cool on paper, and I think a lot of like casual players are gonna love this. For me, we'll get into it after I explain it. So the Cybernetica Datasmith and the Castellans finally got the Doctrina Imperative keyword. That means that our army rule works on our robots. Fucking finally. A year and a half later, we finally get our army rule with one of our most iconic units. So the problem with that is that then the Cybernetica Detachment is the one that gave you the rule that your Castellans get the army rule. So obviously now they have it, that has to change, right? So the Cybernetica Detachment now adds 2 inches to the move of Legio Cybernetica units, which is just your Castellans and just your Datasmith. And they get plus 1 OC unless the models are battle shocked, which is like fine, I guess.
Okay.
The reason that people are kind of questioning this one is because in Halo's Creed, the Grotsmith Detachment, you can select up to 3 units. Yeah? No, 2 units. And they get the buffs, right? One of those buffs is add 2 to the move, right? And Castellans benefit a lot more from the stratagems in that detachment than they do in the Cybernetica detachment, for the most part, right? There's still really good ones in the Cybernetica, but I feel like a lot of those are more ranged focused when a lot of Castellans are more melee focused units. So
yeah, it's
kind of like, it's cool. Your Castellans can now move 11 inches, which is kind of crazy because we know those guys can punch Angron to death. So
yeah,
it's just nice. And then that had to change with the Castellan keyword, the Dyad wafers had to change in Halo's Creed, because what they used to do is give permanent Halo override, and then they used to give them the army rule. Now that they always have the army rule, the Dyad wafers got changed to just give them permanent Halo override, which is nice. Basically, you don't have to worry about that unit being pinged with your rule. And that's all the changes AdMech received in terms of data slate. The reason that I say that it's kind of hard to be happy about this is because I think that every army has like a baseline, right? Like, here's all your models. They all have this, this, and this, right? And then every unit in your army has the army rule, right? That's what you play around. It's very hard to be excited about, hey, our army finally has the bare minimum. You know what I mean? Like, it's a nice change. I'm not going to say that, like, it's better that we have it than that we don't, but I'm not exactly going to give GW a pat in the back here. You know what I mean? Like, this should have been a thing from the get-go. There was no reason for this to be a thing, really. I guess GW maybe thought that the Doctrinas were going to be too strong with the Castellans, but that's obviously not the case now that they're just giving it to them. And the thing is, it also doesn't open up too much possibilities in terms of list building, because you only ever ran Castellans when you could give them the army rule, right? For the most part. You ran them in Halo's Creed with the enchantment because that's when they would get the army rule, and then you ran them in Cybernetica because they always got the army rule in that detachment. Now that they're just like back up to a level to where they always have the army rule with them, you're kind of just thinking to yourself, well, like, I kind of just want to run them in those anyway. You know what I mean? Like, the fact that they're Legio Cybernetica with that keyword bars them from a lot of things, right? So
yeah,
if I remember correctly, there's the fighting detachment, the Dataslate one, doesn't work with the Castellans because they specifically say Cult Mechanicus, and the Castellans don't have that. So you can't give your Castellans +1 attack, +1 strength on the charge, which is like, great, I'm not going to run them in that. I wasn't already running them in that. Nothing is opening up for me. The only thing really is like fight first robots in Dataslate, which is kind of cool. But it's like probably not worth it. You know what I mean? So now you're just kind of back to like, okay, so where do you play Castellan robots? Halo's Creed and Cybernetica. The same things that you played them in before. The only argument here I see is that you can run an extra robot squad in Halo's Creed and they have the army rule. But like, besides that, like, you never really ran Castellans in a way where they didn't already benefit from the army rule. So it's not really doing much. You know what I mean? Like, it's just a nicety, I guess. Having +2 to move on Cybernetica is nice because you get to connect your charges more, and you can use a stratagem that gives you +3 to move and +1 to advance and charge. So you can move them like 14 inches, I think. No, 6 + 2, 8, 9, 10, 11. Yeah. So you move them 11 with the motive imperative. So it's like, I don't know. I'm happy that it happened, but I'm not like ecstatic and going over the moon. You know what I mean? They finally met my expectations a year and a half later, and we still have, 6-inch deep striking death shrouds, and that's okay. But not the Castellans with the army rule until now. You know what I mean? So I don't know. It's kind of done. Those are my thoughts on it. But let's move on. So Eldari got, from what I hear, they had a detachment called Yanid hosts. I don't remember. God, what was it called? Was it called Yanid? Devoted of the Yanid, I think. Yanid. I don't know how you say it. I do know that the ability was called Lethal Intent. I just call it Lethal Intent. The Lethal Intent detachment. Okay. So that one got nerfed. Basically, the infantry and mounted is what it's limited to. And they can only move D6 +1. I think before it used to be a flat value. But the cheese with this one was that before they used to be able to move, I think, their base movement. So if something died near them, then you would have like a wave serpent transport moving 12 inches across the board. And you're like, what the fuck, right? Now it's like, no, you have to basically blood surge. So,
yeah.
And now it's limited to infantry and mounted, no more tanks like zooming across the battlefield just because you're trying to play the game. So that's nice. I hear people say that Yanid is dead. I don't know about that. Maybe I don't know. A lot of people are kind of leaning towards Warhost for Eldar, but I just don't know them well enough to really speak on it. Yvraine got a change where she can reroll wound rolls of 1 that she's in engagement range with. Great, I guess.
I guess I don't.
Yeah, guard Lord Solar Leontis can give orders to Titanic units, so now your Baneblades can actually get orders, which is kind of fat.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah, and I saw somebody pointed out that there's a detachment, I think it's like the Hammerhead something, allows Baneblades to move through walls. So now you can give them like extra movement and then actually get them to where they need to be instead of them getting stuck in your deployment. So kind of cool. Blood Angels got a change. I don't know much about the Black Rage ability, but what I saw from it basically said if this unit that has the Black Rage keyword is not within 6 inches of one or more Blood Angels unit, then they can't fall back and go to 0 OC. So I'm assuming that's like a little bit of a downside because that's not a good thing.
Okay.
Which is kind of like the whole Black Rage thing. They're kind of going berserk. We'll get into Blood Angels in a little bit though, because there's some other changes with them. Zinch Demons, the Scintillating Legion Pyrogenesis strat is now 1 CP, which I thought is fucking insane. I know that it's like very steep for 2 CP, but giving something +2 strength, especially Flamers or the Pink Horrors,
that one, yeah.
or giving a Flux Dice to give them what, +3 strength and +1 AP, like, and now it's 1 CP. Jesus.
That is pretty insane.
Yeah.
I am surprised by that. Just Flamers are so cost efficient.
Yeah, I hear that this strat was really good with Pink Horrors too. I know that last game we played, we didn't run any, I don't think, but I heard that they were also pretty strong.
I usually don't play Pink Horrors. I don't think that they're worth it.
Yeah, but I heard that it's really good strat with Pink Horrors. I guess the idea here was basically 2 CP and a Flux token is basically what the cost was for most people, and that was a bit much. Yeah. So maybe just like giving a Flux token and paying 1 CP is a little bit more efficient. +3 strength though, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, it is pretty insane to be like, all right, here's my strength, 9 fucking Flamers. Get whatever it is that they're targeting is gone now.
Yeah, I mean, hey, like, play them while they're here, right? Because Zinch Demons won't be here for very long. So the next one is CSM. I was wrong. Yeah, I forgot I actually wrote this note down. The Demon Prince did gain the 3-inch within infantry gain lone op. They just don't have the CP thing. So there's that. I guess your Demon Princes are safe.
Demon Princes kind of blow, but
yeah, I think in Chaos, in CSM specifically, they're probably not the greatest. Lord Discordant on Hellstalker got changes. This one was pretty cool because that is a really cool model. And now I know that people were saying that he's kind of shit. I don't know if this will bring him up, but it definitely, I mean, I would consider running him, especially if I was running Soulforge or whatever that detachment is called. But basically, he now moves 14 inches. He has an invuln save of 4 up. He has the Corrupt Machine Spirit ability, which is basically Typhus's Eater Hive. This is kind of what I was referencing earlier with the CSM detachment of Cabal of Chaos. You roll a d6 on a 2 through 3. It's a d3 mortal wounds. On a 4 through 5, it's 3 flat mortal wounds. And on a 6, it's d3 plus 3, which is bonkers. It's pretty good. The only problem is that he can only target a vehicle with it, so you're kind of limited there. But, I mean, he is kind of like the dark AdMech guy, so...
right.
Spirit Thief basically selects an enemy unit, and then anyone that shoots at it gets to reroll wound rolls of 1. Rerolling wounds is always good, especially on a vehicle, because you're probably going to need it.
Right.
But, you know, it's an okay ability. It doesn't have to be super strong, considering he already has Corrupt Machine Spirit to kill vehicles himself. And the next thing that he got, which was the Chain Glaive, is now 5 attacks, weapon skill 2, strength 8, AP -3, damage 3, which is fat, really, really fat. Yeah. I'm surprised. Oh, it also has lance, so there's that. I'm surprised it doesn't have an anti-vehicle thing, considering he's like the anti-vehicle guy. But I guess lance is good enough, especially at strength 8.
Yeah.
I think it went from strength 6 to strength 8, and if I remember, it's 1 AP up and 1 damage. So it pretty big baseline. I think it also went up 2 attacks. I mean, he's looking good in my opinion. I don't know if he's worth running. It's kind of a trend, I think, in this data slate where a lot of units that got buffed didn't get points drops, which I think some of them could have used it. I think Lord Disco maybe could have used it. I think Castellan Robots also could have used it. I can't say the same for the next one because Vastor got changes and he didn't get any points drops or nerfs. And he is kind of looking fucking crazy. So... he also has the same thing about Lone Op, but it's within a demon vehicle specifically. And if you're playing Vastor, you're going to run a demon vehicle. Enemy units within 18 inches targeting Vastor get -1 to hit, and then ranged weapons that attack him have hazardous. So not only does he have, 12-inch Lone Op, but then if you get within 18 of him and try to hit him with something, -1 to hit on top of the fact that you get hazardous on top of that. You have the potential to kill yourself, which is...
classic.
Wow. Then he got a rework to his aura, which is Unholy Mechanisms. Okay. And a demon vehicle that's within 6 inches of him now gets +2 strength, which with a Forge Fiend or with a Mauler Fiend is kind of gross.
Oh, it's just weapons.
Yes. Yes.
Wow.
Just strength. Just flat strength.
That's pretty horrifying.
Yeah, so Mauler Fiends can go up, melt to the shit out of you. I think they start wounding Lehman Russes on 3s. And then
Mauler Fiends are...
They just destroy
melter guns are worthless.
The Mauler Fiend, I mean, they're already trying to get close, so might as well, you know what I mean?
I mean, you could do that, or you can have Vashtor sit in a Forge Fiend nest.
Yeah, that's the other one.
Lone Op.
Yeah, you could...
And just be like, all right,
but
here's my death guns. You're fucked.
Sorry,
that seems pretty cool.
The Magma Cutters go up to their Strength 9 base, so they go up to 11, and then their fists go up to 16, which is kind of crazy.
16.
Yeah, you're wounding a lot of things on 3s there.
Yeah,
pretty fat.
Holy fuck. Yeah, that's pretty sick.
So you can use Vashtor in 2 ways, and I think kind of leaning into the Mauler Fiend thing is that he also got buffs into his melee weapons, which his strike profile got a extra AP, so now it's AP 3, and then his sweep profile got 12 attacks, strength 8, AP -1, damage 2, anti-vehicle 4, devastating wounds, which is... Sick. Wow. Wow.
A sweep with dev wounds is very scary.
Damage 2 dev wounds, no less. And
damage 2 dev wounds is pretty scary.
And the fact that it's strength 8, you can sweep a lot of smaller vehicles and basically just like...
And that anti-vehicle is so fun.
Yeah, you can like one-shot a horde. Yeah. So...
I mean, how many wounds does the Lehman Russ have? 11?
Mm-hmm.
So you hit half of these?
Yeah.
And it's dead.
If you get any sort of reroll on Vashtor, then he can reroll wounds on Vashtor, then he just starts destroying things. I wonder if you could run Vashtor, because I heard people basically say Vashtor at this point is just good in terms of like running as a demon prince. Like you don't even have to worry about the synergies here with like demon vehicles or whatever. I don't know how true that is, but
I don't know. Forge Fiends become strength 12 with him.
Yeah, that's so gross. Yeah, you're wounding Lehman Russes on 3s.
12. Yeah, you... Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ.
And those things also have devastating...
Dorns on 4s.
Those things also have devastating wounds if they if you've Dark Pact with them.
Yeah.
So, devastating wound, whatever strength you just said, yeah, it's...
12.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
it's gone.
Especially if you're running them in Soulforge too, because Soulforge gives a lot of fat buffs. Each time a model makes a ranged attack, you add 1 to the wound roll. So, all right, Lehman Russ, you're definitely dead. And then the melee weapons of demon vehicles get 2 extra attacks. So your Mauler Fiend now smacks even harder with strength 16. So, Dark Pact, by the way, you can also sustain hits.
Yeah, you lose the game.
So
you're just dead. That's really cool.
That's it for CSM. Dark Angels, the Lion saw a lot of buffs. People are starting to think that he's been pushed a lot. Like they keep buffing him, and I think at this point he's like, okay, yeah, you take the Lion. So his abilities changed. I believe it was his Primarch abilities. So one of them now allows him one allows him to be removed from the battlefield and be placed into reserves, which he has deep strike, so you can basically make sure that he never gets stuck on one side of the field.
Cool.
Yeah. The next one is a 6-inch aura for any unit within it. They get reroll hits and wounds of 1. Always fucking solid. And then his shield used to reflect stuff. I think now it just is transhuman physiology, which on the Lion is kind of insane.
That is what it is.
Yeah, so he's just like, I'm going to sit here and never die. So,
yep.
Yeah, he's very versatile now. You can pop him up and then over to a big, like a Death Star sort of, or like a battle cruiser that you have going on in the middle and give all your units reroll hits or wounds of 1. Or if you just really need him to be fucking annoying and hold a point, he just sits there and takes fire from like a Forge Fiend that's just like trying to wound at -1. So
yeah,
pretty big.
That's really good. Yeah.
So then
nothing for Death Guard, nothing for Death Watch.
Yeah, I mean, whatever, fuck them.
Yeah, fuck them.
Well, Death Guard their codex just came out. They're not getting changes. Neither are Thousand Sons or World Eaters. Deldar or Dark Eldar, Reaper's Wager, it used to kind of like do this thing where if you were winning too hard, you kind of got nothing. So you only ever got stuff if you were on the back foot. Now they basically gave it to where the units get reroll hits of 1 if you're winning the wager, and reroll hits of 1 and reroll wounds of 1 if you're losing the wager. So now you have something to kind of like capitalize on if you are on the lead.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Gene Stealers did get a change. I've seen a lot of people skip over this, and it's kind of hard to read. But they got changes to their resurgence points. So, Adeline Jackals, I think they used to cost 3. Now they're 2 resurgence points. And then Pure Strain Gene Stealers are now 2 resurgence points as well. I think they were 3 before. This is basically the thing where like you get 10 resurgence points, and then you can buy back those units as your Gene Stealer, kind of like bringing in reinforcements from underneath the earth. They just got cheaper basically, so now you can bring them back for a little bit less, which is nice. I mean, Pure Strain G Stealers are really good. Adeline Jackals are really good. So you have a little bit more to play around with there. Grey Knights was kind of just like a fix to their rule. Basically, they had it to where they, in their Warp Bane task force, which I think was the Grotsmith detachment, now when they make a range attack or a melee attack, they get to reroll hit rolls of 1. It's just fixing up some wording because there used to be a little bit of cheese with like indirect and stuff like that, and you know how you can get around some stuff. So not much there. Votan, same thing. It was just kind of a quality of life fix. So the Votan have these little like units, kind of like what drones are for the Tau. They have like, but they have like actual profiles. They were called like ECOGs and like VCs or something like that, core Vs. They used to take up space in your transport. So if you had a leader that had a bunch of these little ECOG guys, your transport can fit 10 or 11, but you have technically 16 models, right? So you can never fit in like a lord that with little ECOG machines. Now they just made it so that the ECOGs cost 0 for the sake of transports, so that you're not like getting fucked by your own rules, which is kind of dumb. It took them this long to fix.
Yeah,
but here we are. No, this is Votan.
Who cares about Votan?
Yeah, you're right.
How many people play Votan?
I think Votan are kind of cool. I like their armor and everything and their aesthetic, and then I see that they're dwarves, and I'm just like, oh, never mind. Like, I just don't like dwarves.
I just think that they should have remained food.
I like
gestating.
I just like
and being digested in the Tyranid stomach.
I just like their armor. It reminds me of StarCraft. Like their armor is cool as fuck.
It does. It is very reminiscent of StarCraft.
Yeah, but then like everything else, I'm just like dwarves and like ancestors and grudges. I'm just kind of don't give a shit about this.
Yeah, it's kind of just stupid.
So Cult of Speed for the orcs got a change. They can now shoot and charge when they advance and fall back. I don't think that's going to do much for Cult of Speed. I think they need a little bit more.
Yeah,
orc players are kind of in this weird thing where like they get a bunch of broken detachments and rules and they get it yanked away, so it's really hard to tell as to whether you should be like jealous of orc players or sympathetic, because they always seem to be like, oh look, a new thing we can play with, and they just destroy it, and it's like, yeah, well, it was kind of busted, guys. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, if the orcs could just get like a normal new detachment or like normal rules that isn't broken as fuck,
yeah, that'd be nice.
I'm sure it would be fun to play.
But I still think that orcs have had their time in the limelight. I don't think like an orc player has any right to complain.
Well, yeah, but because their shit was broken as fuck. Well, yeah.
But you know, at least they are getting support, so that's nice. There was a change to like the tank busters, breaker boys, commandos, whatever. It's just basically with the bomb squigs.
Yeah.
I think that they were like, people were using 2 or something at a time. There was a change to the wording that says once per battle for each bomb squig this unit has. I don't really know what it means. I'm sure that there was some cheese that orcs were doing, as is tradition.
Yeah. Just
some change in wording for the ruling there, but I don't think it's anything too serious.
How else does the orc race exist?
Fungus, not cheese, but moldy cheese, I guess.
Yeah, moldy cheese.
The big change here is Ultramarines. Thank God.
Downvote.
So the heinous thing with Ultramarines was that you would run Magnus, Calgar, and Gilliman. Gilliman could reduce the CP of 2 stratagems around him by 1, and then Calgar gave you 1 CP every turn. So you were able to basically get 3 free CP, not counting the one you make per turn, to use every single turn, not battle round. So
cool, very normal.
Yeah, it was kind of fucking ridiculous. So people were very mad about that, obviously, because, you know, it was just busted.
Well, yeah, what the fuck?
So they changed it so that Calgar now only gives you CP if he is on the battlefield and if he's your warlord, right? The way that prevents the cheese is because Gilliman is a Primarch, so he has to be your warlord.
He has to be the warlord,
right.
Yeah.
So
so now you can't run them together.
Right. So, well, you can, but just Calgar can't be the warlord, therefore he won't benefit from the CP generation. The next big one is that the Supreme Strategist ability, where he can target something within 12 inches and then you stop the or reduce the cost by 1. It now says once per battle round. It used to be once per turn. So that's where the 2 CP
this is the
came
same
from.
nerf they did to Hive
Yes,
Tyrants.
it is. Yeah. So that's kind of why they followed suit with Hive Tyrant. Okay.
Sad.
This is a big one too. Tau got.
That's a lot of changes. Holy
they
shit.
got rewritten.
Okay.
I'm going to explain it simply because GW does not know how to fucking write rules apparently. So the way that it worked, right, was one unit guides. One unit basically points at something and says, "Hey, shoot that thing." The unit next to it that you pair it with goes, "Got it," and then shoots it, right? And then these two work in pairs. One guides, one shoots. Simple, right? Mm-hmm. The way it used to work is that if you shot at something that you were being guided towards that wasn't your original guide target, so say you had like a warrior that you were being guided to, but instead you decided to shoot the Swarm Lord, right, or a little thing of gaunts with your extra little guns, you would now be minus to hit, right? So the baseline is 4. If you shoot the guided unit, you would go to 3, but if you shot outside of your guided unit, you would go to 5, right? And that seemed kind of stupid, considering that you want to shoot your heavy guns at the thing that you're obviously guiding towards, but you have all these little guns that you can shoot at gaunts or something, right? Yeah. So now they axe that part out. Basically, like split firing does not actively, it's not actively a detriment to you. The other thing is that now it's not pairs, right? Now it's, hey, my stealth suits say shoot that thing, and you're like, okay, and then every unit that is shooting that thing is guided. No longer is it limited to pairs, right? So it's kind of like the Psychophage ability. The Psychophage shoots something, and then whenever you target that unit, you get this buff, right? Yeah. Same thing. Now all these units do different things. Now you're not doing pairs where like half of your units are guiding and your other half are shooting, right? Now it's my guys are going to guide what's important, and then the rest of my army gets to shoot them. So you're not like, again, a shooting army with only half the guns available to you. So pretty big change there.
Yeah, that is massive.
Yeah. Kao Yan, that was the one where you gained on the 3rd battle round onwards, you got sustain hits 1 and then sustain hits 2 if you're shooting a guided unit. They changed that because getting sustain hits 2 for your whole army is kind of insane. So yeah, they before it was okay because you were only ever shooting with half of your army, right? Half of them were guiding, half of them were shooting. So now that you only have like 3 units guiding and the rest of your army shooting, sus 2 would be way too strong. What they did is they made sustain hits 1, and in addition, you ignore modifiers to your ballistic skills. So if something has stealth, if something has -1 to wound, doesn't matter, which is pretty strong.
I mean, that's still pretty insane. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's still really good,
but I don't think it's as broken as it would be your entire army has sustain 2.
Yeah, like your Overwatch is probably a lot worse because like Overwatch sustain 2 is pretty fucking insane. So but you know, you got something for it. They didn't completely like fucking axe rules like they did before. Yeah, because there was that one change they did with Tau where like I think it was the Pure Tide Engram chip where it literally just did nothing after a rules change. I forgot what it was. It was something to do with CP, but like you literally paid 15 points and got nothing. So
let's go.
So then through Unity Devastation and the Monka enhancement, it's basically just changing the wording to, it used to be like wording to benefit the pairs thing. Now it's just kind of saying a guided unit to clarify the fact that you don't have to be like a guided pair. You know what I mean? It's just saying like now this rule works exactly how you think it does based on the new rewrite. So
instead of nonsense.
Yeah. So then the data sheets, there was a couple of changes to the buffs that these guys get. Basically, the Firesight team, each time a model in this unit makes an attack that targets a spotted unit, you can reroll the hit roll. So one guy points at that thing, says, hey, shoot it. These guys go, cool, I get to reroll hits on it as well. So Pathfinder teams, basically whenever a model in this unit makes an attack that targets their spotted unit, you improve the ballistic skill by 1, and the attack has the ignore cover ability.
Cool.
So
wow.
Yeah, pretty fat considering that I believe you already improved your ballistic skill by 1, so you improve it again. So they shoot on 2s, which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
Let me make sure I'm reading that right. Each time a model in this unit makes an attack that targets their spotted unit. Yeah, okay. And then stealth battle suits, they had the ability where whenever they spotted a unit for somebody, that unit shooting at them would get reroll hits and reroll wounds of 1. Now it's just clarifying to say that it works with the new army rule. Every unit gets this. So pretty fat. And then finally we go to Nids. So Hive Tyrant, same thing as Calgar, not Calgar, Gilliman. They can only do the thing once per battle round.
They did get a cost reduction.
Yeah, we'll go over the points here as soon as we're done.
30 points.
So then the Psychophage got a bunch of changes. We kind of went over them already. Move 12. They have the Biostimulus ability, which is mark something, it gets -1 AP versus melee.
It's gonna be crazy. It's also crazy with Hormigons.
They also gained the smoke keyword, so you can use smoke screen now.
You can use smoke screen on your fucking Psychophage.
And now they have 6 attacks and -2 AP, so not bad.
So I mean, overall, the Hive Tyrant change, it's sad. I never really played Hive Tyrants. I just prefer to play other units. I know that they're good. I just don't run them really. Because I like other stuff. The Psychophage, though, is a unit I've been looking at a lot. And now I'm definitely putting it in every list that I play Tyranids.
Yeah, it's basically like the same reason that I run Chaos Sorcerers in Terminator Armor. They're very good value pieces to be like, hey, that thing, it's gonna die.
Yeah, and they're so fast.
Yeah.
They're so fast now. That 12-inch move is crazy. They're only 110 points after the nerf, which is, 95 to 110 does kind of blow. But they move at Mach speeds.
Yeah, also they're harvesters.
That's 4 inches of movement that they got.
Yeah. They're also harvesters. Isn't that a thing with like a simulation swarm or something?
Simulation swarm.
I don't know if that adds value or something to them. Like the fact that
they're better.
Okay.
It's a better unit, so I guess
so
people who play a simulation swarm,
So let's run over the points changes real quick. These will be quick because we won't get too into them, at least for the armies that we don't know.
I really only looked at the ones for Tyranids, so.
So Sisters got points drops across the board. They've been getting buffs ever since they had to fix their army rule. Castigators down 10, Immolators down 10, Junith down 10, Paragon Warsuits down 10, Repentia Squad down 10 for both variants, Retributor Squad down 10, Seraphim -5 for 5 models, -10 for 10, and Triumph of St. Catherine down 15. So yay, I guess. Sisters is already a pretty expensive army to collect, so the fact that all of these points went down, it's quite a bit too. Paragon Warsuits going down might be a little bit scary. Same with Immolators. But not bad. I mean, Sisters probably needs it, to be honest. They were like the strongest army in the game, then they became the shittiest, and now they're slowly getting built up, so
yeah. So we all have to go through that pipeline every now and again, right?
No, we started from rock bottom here at AdMech, so we're only ever going up.
I'm Tyranids. We're like middle of the bar, or like really
middle
good.
to A right now. I saw something from another podcast. It was the Art of War podcast, the competitive guys, and I heard somebody say, "How is it that AdMech is always the winner in these data slates, and it just doesn't matter?"
And they're still the worst.
I don't know about they're not worse, but it's it's bad.
What is the worst army in the game right now by win rate?
Technically, I think it's like Death Guard. Not Death Guard. No, they're like top.
Death
Watch, Black Templars, and Imperial Agents. But I kind of I've kind of went over this point before. I don't have pity for the Space Marine faction that has a different flavor.
Yeah.
That part being weak, because you could just go, I'm gonna run them Gladius Task Force.
You could just
play all the other fucking detachments. Yeah, and like the normal Space Marines are like a fucking, what are they, 54% win rate? So you can't play your special Black Templar Death Watch stuff. Okay, I get that, but like, at least you didn't go $2,000 into an AdMech army and then you just bought a Horde army in a trench coat. You know what I mean? Like,
you're like, wow.
Yeah.
And my units don't do anything.
I don't have much pity. Adeptus Custodes, Alurius Custodians went down. 10, 15, 25, 30. I mean, Custodians are good. So I think
downvote Custodians.
Custodians are kind of like middle to, like, I would say like C to B. The thing is that, like, I feel like if you change them too much, then they just kind of take a mile instead of an inch. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I think that this is the right approach. I know it's not exciting for Custodes players to be like, wow, we only got a 10 points drop this detachment, but you also have to realize that your army, like, the difference between taking one extra unit of custodian guards or wardens is enough. You know what I mean? That's like 5 units for another army. So I think this is like a nice little change where they're slowly changing things. Then we get...
Yeah, but I don't want them to have fun.
Yeah, right. Then we get to AdMech. We got... Our Iron Striders are minus 5 points for per model. So 5, 10, 15, 1, 2, and 3. Iron Striders are still kind of outclassed by Disintegrators, especially now. I think this is the fattest buff that we've gotten. Scorpius Disintegrators are now 10 points cheaper. We have a 165 point tank that has basically 3 last cannons, 2 smaller last cannons, and 18 stubbers. Like, that's kind of insane. Yeah, I think that, like, as long as the Disintegrator is this good, the Iron Striders are just kind of going to get outclassed by it. And the Iron Striders went down 5 points. The Disintegrator went down 10. Like,
yeah.
It's fun.
Isn't it better to require fewer units, though?
What's that?
Isn't it better to require fewer units?
Well, that... Yeah, but, like, the Scorpius Disintegrator also doubles as your Dune Rider. So, like, if you buy this tank that's very expensive because you're playing AdMech, you can also build it to where it is also a transport. So, you know, save a little bit of money there, I guess.
Yeah, exactly.
It's funny how when I went to go play at one of my competitive stores, this guy I was playing World Eaters against. You saw the pictures, like the Minotaur Chaos Bonds?
Yeah.
When I was playing against them, he was like, "What are those tanks?" And I was like, "Oh, they're just kind of okay." And he's like, they're like one-shotting literally everything. And I'm like, yeah, they kind of do that sometimes. And he's like, how much do they cost? I'm like, 165 points. He's like, Jesus Christ.
Holy shit.
Yeah, 165 points. Well, 175 points at the time. And he was like, those are really fucking good. I would much rather pay that than like a Predator Annihilator. And I was like, teehee, yeah, sure. 165 now, though. I'm sure when I tell him those news, he's going to be like, bro, what? Yeah, Scorpius Disintegrators are just like, they're not like the most deadly tank in the game, but they're so valuable now. 165 points is actually kind of insane. So, hey, AdMech is good at something, I guess. We got Sidonian Dragoons with Taser Lances, kind of got the same points drops as the Iron Strider Ballistari, minus 5 per Iron Strider, which Dragoons are okay, but with Chaos Knights coming out and Imperial Knights coming out, if they are very, very strong, then the Dragoons are probably going to be like a huge counter meta because they have Anti-Walker 2. Injuring a Knight on 2s is kind of insane. So,
yes, it is.
So, yeah, if Knights start rampaging through the meta, hey, those points drops for the Dragoons are just setting us up to kill Knights. So, maybe we go Dragoon spam, you know? Maybe it's a thing. And then finally, the Halo's Creed Battleclade Detachment, the Dyad Wafers, that gives your Castellan robots the buff. It went down 15 points. Now it only costs 15 because you're only getting half the value since now Castellans have Doctrina Imperatives. So that's it there. Aldari, the Atriarch goes up 10 points. Shining Spears go down 10. Warwalker goes down 10. And Warlock Conclave goes up 20 for 4 models. Fire Dragons go up 10, thank God. Fire Prisms go down 10, and Howling Banshees go up 5. I don't think anyone was running Howling Banshees, but I could be wrong. I know Fire Dragons are very strong, so they went up by 5 for the minimum size squad. Sorry, they went up by 10 for the 5-man squad, which is valuable.
Because they're like actually good Miltagun users, right?
Yeah, they basically have like very, very strong anti-tank. It's like kind of insane how strong it is. Yannari, the Yukarnate, went up by 10. Yannari Archon went up by 10, and Yannari Incubi went up by 10. I don't think that's gonna matter because I think Yannari's kind of dead. So, you know, Codex Astra Militarum, Bulgrins went down by 10 for 3 and 20 for 6.
That's an interesting choice.
Yeah, 200 point Bulgrins, 6 models, kind of insane.
Yeah, that is pretty crazy. That is...
200 point Bulgrins is.
There's gonna be a lot of Bulgrin lists, I'm guessing.
Yeah, I think we might go back to Bulgrin meta.
Yeah.
Deathcore Krieg, 20 models went up by 15 points. Death Riders went down by 10, or 20 for 10. Leman Russ Battle Tank went up by 10. Interesting. Tarox went up by 10. Tempestus Aquilons went down by 10. And Ursula Creed went up by 20. Jesus.
Yikes.
Yeah, I think we're going to kind of maybe go back to maybe a Astra Militarum infantry meta. Aquilon's going down is kind of nice. Bulgrin's being 200 is kind of insane.
Which I think that's good.
Yeah.
I think it's less toxic
than just a bunch of tanks.
Yeah, I feel like playing against tank guard sucks.
Yeah, it's very skill checky in my opinion.
Yeah, it's like, okay, well, how many last cannons did you bring, and did I shoot them first?
So Black Templars, Chaplain Grimaldus went down 10. High Marshal Helbrecht went down 10. Primaris Crusader Squad went down 10 for the 8 Neophyte brick. And Primaris Sword Brethren went down 10, or 30 for 10 models, which is kind of fat. Sword Brethren are pretty strong from what I remember. I just don't know. I don't play Black Templars enough. If anything, this is the one I care about the least. Sorry, Black Templar players. Yeah. But okay, this is the big one. Blood Angels.
Okay.
Blood Angels are already a good army. Like, they got the massive points drops, right? So Asterath went down 10. Ball Predator went by 10. Ball Predator went down 10. Chief Liberian Mephiston went down 15. Dante went down 10. Death Company Dreadnought went down 20. Death Company Marines with jump packs went down 10. Lamontis went down by 10. Sanguinary Guard went down by 20. And Sanguinary Priest went down by 15. This is a lot of points drop for an army that's already really fucking good. It's not like right. Mega A tier, but it's like it's up there. I don't know why they did this. Like, this is kind of insane. Like Sanguinary Guard going down 20 is kind of crazy. I don't know, man. Blood Angel players are probably happy. I just don't know the reason why.
Why would they do it? They think it's funny.
I
feel like there's an age-old quote for like Magic where it's like Wizards of the Coast mostly does things at random, and I feel like that applies to Games Workshop.
Yeah,
like most of the time, where it's like they just do random shit, and they're like, I wonder how this will work.
I feel like Castellan Robots for AdMech could have gone down like 10 points on top of the army thing, and then we would have been happy. But like, I don't know why these guys had to go down. Yeah, especially because they are able to lean back.
I'm sure everyone else is like, "What the fuck? What the fuck?"
Yeah, and I mean, they have if any of their specific codex units go bad or supplement units go bad, they always have Space Marines to lean back on, right? So,
right.
All right, Demons. Nurglings went up by 5 points. Cool.
Okay.
The Blood Legion Detachment, Slaughterthirst went down by 10, and Shadow Legion got nerfed. Fate to Darkness went up by 15, and Leaping Shadows went up by 10. I've heard good things about Shadow Legion. They're not as busted as people said they were, so, you know. Chaos Knights, no changes. Their codex is about to come out. Chaos Space Marine, sorry. Chaos Lord and Jump Pack went down by 10. Just not good. Dark Apostle went down by 10. I didn't know that Dark Apostle was not a Psyker. I know that he's like the chaplain, but I figured that he would have like something, like a Psyker keyword. He's not. Because when I was looking at the Cabal of Chaos, I was like, oh, Dark Apostle went down, new Psyker detachment. But I didn't know he was not a Psyker, so there's that. And then I learned that there's a Chaos Sorcerer, and he's dog shit, so. Felgor Beastman went down 15 points.
Let's go, Beastman.
Okay. Like, all right. Master of Possession went down 10, so now there's 60 points. They're starting to look pretty good. I know that, like, everyone, I'm still clinging on to Codex or Index Master of Possession. Rest in peace. But he's starting to get to the point where he's low enough to where maybe you do start running him with Possessed. And then Trader Enforcer went down by 10. Nobody cares. No, it's okay. Let's see. Dark Angels, no changes. Death Guard, no nerfs for being one of the best armies in the game.
Let's go.
Yeah, they're probably taking the approach of like what they did with like when AdMech was the worst army in the game, and they were like, we're not going to do anything yet because it just came out. I'm assuming that's kind of the approach they're taking here, where they're like, the army just came out, we're not just going to go ahead and nerf it, even though it is one of the best, because Emperor's Children is still up there too. Thousand Suns, I think, is also up there. I don't remember.
It's just all chaos.
Yeah, basically. The only thing that Death Guard really suffered from was Nurglings going up, just like they did in Demons. But it's only 5 points, and I don't think a lot of Death Guard lists are really running Nurglings. Drakari.
No, Nurglings just don't do anything.
Yeah, they have been nerfing the shit out of Nurglings this edition.
Yeah. like on repeat,
Yeah.
and it's like, what's the point? They don't do
Yeah,
anything.
yeah. It's just like,
Why are you
stop,
doing
bro.
this?
Stop. Leave them alone.
They literally don't do anything.
So, Drukhari Mantrix went down by 5. Raider went down by 5. Ravager went down by 10. And Venom went down by 5. I heard people saying that the Ravener started this edition at 140 points and it is now at 100. And that is kind of gross. I don't know what Raveners do. I'm too afraid to face Drukhari, if I'm being completely honest. I feel like every single time I see a Drukhari player, I'm just like, I really hope I don't go against you because I don't want to learn all these rules, nor do I want to face the Wrath.
Yeah, of
Yeah.
Drukhari. That is pretty insane.
Emperor's Children did get changes. Demon Prince went up by 20 points. The Demon Prince with wings, sorry. That was the crazy one. Justified. Fulgrim went down by 20 points. Interesting.
Oh, cool.
Lucius went up by 10. Noise Marines went up by 10. And in the Coterie of the Conceited, the Pledge of Unholy Fortune went up by 10. I remember when I did my review thinking that Noise Marines were going to be busted as fuck, as well as the Flawless Blades. I'm glad that 50% of me was correct, with Noise Marines are already catching buffs, or nerfs, sorry. And rightfully so, because they are gross.
It's probably just trying to contain the bleed.
Yeah, I think so.
Stimmy.
Gene Stealer Colts, Adeline Jackals went down 5 points. Great. Next.
Okay.
Grey Knights, Brotherhood Champion goes down 10 points. Brotherhood Terminator Squad goes down 20 if you're running the 10-man models. So now they're in line with 5 being 200, 10 being 400. And then Paladin Squad, the 10-man brick went down by 20 points. So I guess you're more incentivized to take bigger bricks of things, but I don't think it's really going to matter for Grey Knights too much. Imperial Agents, no changes. Imperial Knights, no changes. They're about to get their codex. Leagues of Votann, no changes. Necrons got changes.
Okay.
Canoptech. I don't... Why am I failing? Canoptic. Yeah, I'm like, I know how to say this word. Why am I fucking it up now? Canoptic Doomstalker goes down 5. Yeah, something like that. Canoptic Wraiths went down 5. Deathmarks went down 5. Illuminor Zeraz went down 10. That's kind of cool. 1 Locust Destroyer went up 5 points. So just if you take the 1. Plasmancer went down 5. Scorpec Lord went up 10. Technomancer went down 5. And in the Awakened Dynasty, Enigmatic Thermal Bond went up 15. I don't know where they're going with these changes, if I'm being completely honest. I kind of lost track of the Necron meta after the whole Wraith spam, so I don't know. I don't know where this is going.
That was a while ago.
Yeah, that was a very long time ago. That and like the Star Shatter Arsenal meta, which
I remember the Wraith spam.
Yeah, it was like when I lived in Japan. So
that was like a really long time ago. I have no idea what Necron players are doing.
No.
I don't know. I thought they were doing Catan stuff, and then that got nerfed last time.
Yeah, it was like Catan, and then Wraiths,
and
then... No, it was Wraiths, then Catan, and then it was like Immortals, and then now I don't know what it is. I
don't care.
Orcs. Big Mech with Shock Attack Gun goes up 10. Boom Daka Snazwagon goes down 10. Boys go up 10 for the 20-man. Def Copters go down 10. Okay. Flash Kits.
Flyers are pissed, so.
Yeah. Flash Kits go up 10 for 10 models. Custom Boom Blaster goes down 5. Ludas go up 15. Yikes.
Yikes.
Megatrack,
That is yikes.
Megatrack Scrapjack goes down 5. Tank Busters goes up 5. Truck goes up 5. Zodrog Wartsnagger goes up 10. Squid Hog Boys go down 10. Shock Jump Dragster goes down 5. And Rucka Truck Squig Buggy goes down 5. So it seems like they're buffing a lot of the vehicles that would be good for Cult of Speed, which they also got a buff. But I don't know if it's enough for them.
Yeah.
They also...
I guess we'll see.
Yeah, they also nerfed a lot of the guns or a lot of the units that were being used in the Mordaka detachment after they already nerfed Mordaka. I don't know if that's really warranted, because I remember Big Mech, Luda, Tank Busters, and Zodrock were like the biggest... I guess, abusers of Mordaka, as well as Flash Kits, and they also got nerfed. So it's just like, why are you nerfing them after you've nerfed the problematic detachment? I don't know if they should have done that.
I don't
know. Way after, because like Mordaka,
just make sure it can't.
Yeah, because like Mordaka got fixed like fucking a month ago. It's like it got fixed pretty quick.
Yeah.
So I don't think that was too warranted. Space Marines. Aggressor Squad goes down 20. Captain with
Yep.
Jump Pack goes down 10. Heavy Intercessor Squad
Yep.
goes down 10. Hellblaster Squad goes down 5. Magnus Calgar goes down 10. Rabute Gilliman goes down 25. And Vanguard Veteran Squad with Jump Pack goes down 15 or 30. This is kind of gross.
Fuck Space Marines.
So, from what I've heard, Vanguard Veteran Squad with Jump Packs are just better jump pack intercessors. They have storm shields and power swords. And now I think they're like to the point where you just kind of windmill slam them. Like I don't know why they got dropped that hard, but it's kind of scary considering that what's the name of these fuckers? Blood Angels just got a bunch of drops too. And now now they got these veteran squad jump packs to lean back on as well. So it's just like oh, I don't know about this. Like,
yeah, that's a lot of changes that I don't like, because I don't like it when Space Marines get anything cool. But
yeah, it's a little scary.
I think they should undo it and then nerf Space Marines into the ground.
Yeah, it's a bit scary. I don't know how I feel about that, considering that Blood Angels is as good as it is, and they just got as much point drops as possible. So they got a lot of points drops. So like, it's not like the little things with your armies where you're like, oh, my list is now 25 points more free. I think a lot of Blood Angel lists went like, oh, I'm like 50 free, and now I can take these JPIs or Veteran Squad instead of JPIs that are like ridiculously more cheap. You know what I mean? And they're like way better. So scary. Maybe Blood Angels comes back. I don't know. Well, it's not like they really ever left.
Maybe they should go away instead.
So Space Wolves, Bjorn the Fell-Handed goes down 10. Grey Hunters go down 10. Thunderwolf Cavalry goes up 20 for the 6-man. That's kind of insane. No more Wolf Jail, I guess. Yeah. Wolfguard Head Takers, the 3-man squad goes down 5. The 6-man squad goes down 10. Wolfguard Terminators go down 10. Wolfen go up 5. Wolfen with Storm Shields go up 10. And Saga the Bold Detachment, Thunderwolf's Fortitude goes down 5. Yeah, I guess no more Wolf Jail. Rest in peace.
Yeah.
Oh well.
Upvote.
I think they get their supplement soon. So
when wolves suffer, I get happy.
Codex Tau Empire, yay! Crew Carnivores go up for 10. I literally don't know why. Like,
okay, they literally they didn't get any changes, but fuck up, I guess.
It's already bad enough that a lot of like the nerfs that caught Nids with Endless Swarm also caught Crew, and they were
also got them,
so like, and then they increased the price of the 20-man. I think maybe because now they're like, I know that Crude are still used even in like non-Crude detachments because they're basically like cultists in a way. They're very, very cheap fire teams basically, but I don't know if they warranted the nerf. Stealth battlesuits go up 20 points, and that's because they are already one of the best guiding units in the army. And now that they can guide literally everything in your army, not just one unit, their value went up definitely. So they like every single time you built a Tau list, it was like, oh, I'm building Tau, 3 squads of fucking stealth battlesuits, like always. So now they cost more because you got stronger. So Cao Young through Unity Devastation goes up 15, and Montcaz Coordinated Exploitation goes up 20, again because their army rule got buffed. Thousand Suns, no changes, and then we finally get to Tyranids. Swarmlord went down 20 points, fat.
Let's go.
Psychophage,
no nerfs too.
Psychophage goes up 15. Hive Guard goes down 10.
Fair. Sure, Hive Guard suck. So
Hive Tyrant goes down 30. That is a big one.
Yes. Both Hive Tyrants, winged and non-winged, got reduced by 30. However,
they caught the fat nerf.
The nerf was huge. Yeah. The nerf
and
was
then the
huge.
Screamer Killer goes down 10 points.
Sure,
I think Swarmlord is a pretty good like piece already.
Swarmlord is really good. Him getting buffed seems weird because there's no reason for it because they didn't do anything to him.
Yeah.
But I mean, okay.
I think
maybe it's because people will stop running Hive Tyrants as much. You'll be encouraged to run Swarmlord now, but you can just do both because Swarmlord is so good.
Yeah, especially because like
I don't know.
I think you still maybe what they're trying to do with that is like yes, your Hive Tyrant can't like reduce 1 CP everywhere, right? Like for once per turn. So you basically lose 1 CP reduction, but the Swarmlord gives you 1 CP if he's on the field. So you're kind of just evening out here. You know what I mean? In
Yeah.
a way.
I mean, it's weird that, but at that point, why buff Swarmlord?
Well, what I'm saying is that, like, I think what they noticed was, like, okay, Hive Tyrant, right? Let's say that Hive Tyrant is like Guilliman and Swarmlord is like Calgar. The difference here being that with Hive Tyrant versus like something like Guilliman or Magnus Calgar is the fact that like Nids are also like pretty expensive, at least like the big ones, like Swarmlord being 240, where he was 240, and Hive Tyrant is like, you know, a big amount of point. Guilliman is not only ever giving you CP reduction, but he also gives you double oaths. You know, he gives you a bunch of other shit on top of that. I think maybe that's why, because they were like, okay, Space Marines, they don't get the thing, you know, like Swarmlord doesn't give you the thing of like he has to be your warlord to get the CP back like Calgar does. So you can kind of just do the same thing that the Space Marines were doing, but you get to keep it because your Swarmlord doesn't also come with other 7 abilities. You know what I mean? Maybe I'm gonna assume that's probably why, and it's a lot easier to kind of take them down.
I'm not gonna complain about buffs. I'm just confused because the Swarmlord is really good. Like, there's very little reason not to play Swarmlord in your army, and now there's even more reason not to play Swarmlord in your army. 220 points for what you get with the Swarmlord is really good.
Yeah,
and you will never be disappointed by it, right? You can literally just sit him in your home objective and just like get up command points and just look at your opponent like, send something back there to try and snipe him. Good luck. The Swarmlord will kill probably anything.
Swarmlord is just good because he has fucking malign presence. Like, that thing.
Yeah, malign presence. You get the command point every turn, and his melee profile is also very scary. There is literally no downside to running the Swarmlord. You should just do it, and now you should do it now even more.
I think that's I think Nids definitely walked out of this one really happy, even if they did catch that stray nerf there. But I think that's just more for the sake of like bookkeeping, because they're like, okay, if Guilliman can't do it, then we have to be even with that rule.
Yeah, if Guilliman can't do it, Hive Tyrants can't either, which is fair, and that's fine. I just think that Hive Tyrants still have an insane ability, right? Because Onslaught is still really good. Giving all of your ranged models in its 6-inch aura assault and lethal hits is still really dumb.
A little bit.
Winged Hive Tyrant gives you paroxysm, so it deals some damage, which it either like hits itself or it subtracts 1 attack from its target, which is also fine. But I think at a certain point, the Winged Hive Tyrant just kind of sucks.
Yeah, they're like the demon princess for you guys.
The Foot Tyrant is really good. Yeah, because like Winged Hive Tyrant now is just like, okay, so we don't, because it's a little bit cheaper, but you're basically paying for that to have it in your Vanguard army and still have Will of the Hive Mind, but now Will of the Hive Mind is a lot worse. And the Winged Hive Tyrant is much worse than the base Hive Tyrant in combat. While also not having Onslaught. Well, Onslaught is really good.
Yeah.
And you can give your Hive Tyrant a gun, but like,
I don't think
why?
You need it.
No, their guns are kind of bad. Venom cannons are not very good. I've been disappointed by them every single time. Barb Stranglers are garbage. What else can this guy take? I think those are the ones that I've tried. I think those are all the guns, but yeah, it's not very good. I think the Winged Hive Tyrant at this point is probably not really worth it unless you're in Vanguard Invader, and you still want Will of the Hive Mind for something, but Hive Tyrant is still good, especially at 195 points. Just as like 6 inches, all guns have assault and lethal hits.
Well,
because like giving your silly little termagants lethal hits is pretty
gross,
funny,
especially because there's so many attacks with such low strength.
Right.
But then the last one was World Eaters that got no changes. Yay!
No changes. Yep. No changes to World Eaters, even though they have been brutalized.
So that's basically the patch. I think it's fine. I kind of came into it expecting nothing, and I got something out of it. I think the thing I'm happiest for is probably the Disintegrator going down 10 points. So definitely definitely take 2 auto, I think, and then maybe 3 if you really want to. But that means I also have to buy 2 more tanks. So guess I'm gonna have to go spend another $120.
Yeah. I think Tyranids walked away from another data slate as a, like you said, like an A army, and we're either staying that way, and maybe we're coming a little bit A plus. Because I mean, our super units, like our really good units, right? Nothing was touched.
Nits have been getting a lot of buffs.
Exocrine was ignored. I don't know what else other people run, but I mean, Lictors are still really good. Biovores are still good. Raveners are even better. We got even better Raveners that can join those Raveners and make them like absolutely fucking insane
the Psycho Fuck
units.
Squad.
Yep, the Psycho Fuck Squad is coming. Neurotyrants didn't get changed, which, I mean, I think that Neurotyrants are in a perfect balance point. It's 105 points, and it's like you get the Flamer, and then you get the buff, the thing that you actually want, which is the -1 when you unleash the Shadow on the Wall.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much all that you want from your Neurotyrant. 100 points for that, 105 points for that is perfectly reasonable. Like they're not bad on their own either. And you know, the Node Lash is, or not Node Lash, Synaptic Relay is really good also.
Yeah.
But
I think
I don't know. I think it's really good.
Yeah, I think a lot of the other armies too, they kind of got changes that were like very in line with what they needed, I think. Tau definitely got a bigger buff than I thought they ever would. Tau's funny because like
Tau's looks
because Tau was like a mid to like A tier army with like Retaliation Cadre back in the day, and then all of a sudden it just started spiraling downward. It was very obvious why, but like it was very obvious what they needed to fix, but I don't know why they just started a spiral. I couldn't put my finger on why. But it's crazy that they gave him like a almost an AdMech level rewrite. They were actually good for a good portion of their time. It's just like lately I want to say in the last couple months is when they started kind of going down. So interesting that they responded so fast to them, where they haven't responded so fast to other armies. Like when Jukari was doing really bad earlier, it took months for Jukari to get some changes.
I mean, that's just how it is sometimes. Right?
No, I mean,
some people just
you're telling me. Did you hear about last week's results with AdMech?
Yes,
20% win rate.
Your server, I can see these things. Yeah,
yeah.
It is pretty insane, especially with like. I think that, like, I mean, Tyranids is my army, right? So all of our detachments do fine, except for I'm sure Unending Swarm is garbage, because it is garbage. Everything else wins sometimes, and AdMech is struggling to win.
Yeah, I mean, there was like, you know, it was only one player, so he was dictating the entire win rate, and a lot of people like to dismiss that.
So it's a little bit
skewed, but
skewed,
at the same time, I'm just kind of like, listen, our win rate has been dwindling, right? Well, it's been kind of stabilizing now. But our player rate has been kind of dwindling too. I think we were down there with like Sisters and Black Templars. But I'm like, isn't it kind of indicative that our play rate has gone down, our win rate has been low, and then all of a sudden we hit the apex of there's one guy playing and he has 20% win rate with it. You know, like I feel like that's like a nice little bow to the present, where you're just kind of like, this is it. This is what what it's led to. You know what I mean? The very last week of this data slate shows exactly how people feel about AdMech, where there's only enough for one guy to go out there and he does 1 in 4. You know what I mean? Like if you want to say that it's inconclusive data, sure, but I also think it's kind of decisive. It's like a really good way to just paint a picture of like, this is what it's led to. You know what I mean? Which I'm gonna probably go over that a little bit more in a future video, but I think I think this is good changes to go into the new missions with, especially because the new missions are coming out. Everyone's excited about that, and not only that, but we get a fresh new data slate on top of that too. So really, really cool. But that does it for this data slate. Yeah, that's it. That's it. Yeah, we got new detachments. Yay! I kind of want to try the. I kind of want to try the Chaos one. Kind of don't. Units. I know you're definitely gonna go crazy over Subterranean.
Oh, I'm going. I already have a list ready. I might change it when stuff comes out. We'll see. But yeah, I'm really excited.
Yeah. So, But yeah, that does it for this episode of Voices in the Code. Same pleasantries as always. Patreon if you want to support. Do monthly giveaways there on the 15th. I think this month we're probably just gonna do something around like $60 to $80. I don't know. So if you're there, fabricators get double the pool power. Engine seers get one. What else do I have to announce? Get on the Discord. We talk about things. Yay!
Get on the Discord. We talk.
Yeah, and I stream sometimes, not always. I don't have a schedule because of work. We're gonna try to get a battle report through though, maybe, because we really have to do one. Maybe I can't do this weekend. I can do this weekend actually. I'm back on day shift, so time is a lot easier for me to work around. We'll see. We'll figure it out. But in the meantime, this has been Voices in the Code. Thank you, Lily, for stopping by. Always a pleasure.
Of course.
And we will chat with you guys next time. Bye-bye. Bye. A shout out to all of my patrons in the Engine Seer patron tier, and a special shout out to the Fabricator tier with 3x01, Atura, Sig Lawson Jr., Makito, Tech Priest Thorn, Dr. Jones, Dr. Dogorino, Eric Neisner, Mula, Rising Grace, Sekartor, and Snoo Halufagus. Thank you guys.